Do you know, I actually once accosted you outside the Ritz when I was really drunk, and I said, I love you. It was about 1:30 in the morning. You looked so frightened and ran away. But Ian, I really do.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here tonight. So just relax.
Good evening, welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Stephen Mangan. In the news this week, Spring Watch's Chris Packham regrets not being at home when some extremely rare osprey eggs are delivered. In Hull, the head chef of the Lucky House Crispy Duck Takeaway is spotted. And in Westminster, Nick Robinson confronts the person who drew a penis on his notebook. On Ian's team tonight, a journalist who is descended from aristocracy. I'm not sure how posh she is, but her family home does have a gift shop and a maze. Please welcome Camilla Long. And with Paul tonight is an actor and comedian who is currently starring in a play at the National Theatre. Actually, I'm in it as well, so technically he's not starring. Please welcome Miles Jupp. And we start with the bigger election stories of the week. Ian and Camilla, take a look at this.
Scotland.
Yes.
Yes, that's supposedly the most dangerous woman in Britain, the one on the right. Stronger for Scotland. It's a new toilet paper. Who's that?
John Major.
Oh, yes, I remember
yes.
him. We're meant to be terrified. This is the Tory tactic to make everyone very, very scared of the SNP.
Why?
Well, this isn't explained. Nicola Sturgeon gets lots of votes in Scotland, so all the other parties go, oh no, what can we possibly do? We could argue, present some policies, try and win.
Help count the votes.
Yeah.
What did she say was the SNP's #1 priority? It was to rebalance Britain and make life better for ordinary people across these islands.
How appalling.
Yeah. Well, it's nice of them to do that before they piss off and leave the rest of us.
She doesn't have a Westminster seat, does she?
No, she's leader of the party.
So she'd be involved in negotiations that she wouldn't have...
Yeah, by Skype from Scotland. Right. Because she's officially not allowed to leave, because that would be betrayal.
But when did they launch their manifesto?
The Isle of Skype.
So but she could be part of power in the event... I'm asking you this, Ian, because I suspect the rest of us don't know.
Well, I'm obviously part of the SNP's inner circle.
The London agent. 1:30 outside the Ritz, nothing to report. Of course, that won't work unless we include the bit before the recording.
What are their actual plans, do we know?
It's to put forward a lot of promises which they haven't costed and which will cost a great deal of money. And everyone says, where's that coming from? You say, shut up.
They've got a position on Trident as well, the SNP. I don't know what it is, but they've got one.
Well, I think they want to sell it, don't they? Or not do it. Or not have it.
I don't think they want to sell
They
it.
don't
They
want
want
to...
to just...
You might as well sell it. Surely someone will buy it. What's the point of just throwing it away?
Yeah. There's a lot of countries don't have nuclear weapons.
People, that's the problem with politics for today. No common sense. Did you see how The Sun portrayed Ed Miliband and Nicola Sturgeon's plan to steal the election? There they are.
They're going to steal the election by lots of people voting for them. Boo.
There's also this
Yes.
The Sun came up with.
Wasn't Miley Cyrus actually naked in the original video?
Oh, have they put pants on her?
I'm just
Put
pointing
things
this
on.
out for detail.
I don't know, but if anyone would be the expert on the Miley Cyrus video...
It would be Ian.
Ian.
She's a style icon as well.
Is she?
Yes, she looks great. She's got a new wardrobe from somewhere in Edinburgh called Totty Rocks. Totty Rocks is a weird name, though, I think. It's sort of my drag name, really.
One comment on the Daily Record Online asked, has a male political leader ever been depicted the way Nicola Sturgeon has been in The Sun? Well... should we turn that upside down? And you can see that is, of course, William Hay.
To be fair, he's not semi-naked.
He's not naked at all.
No.
No, that's
It's
true.
very, very
Feathers.
closed up to the ears.
He's quite cute, though, isn't it?
Yeah, lovely.
I'll buy one of those.
Well, really, if you came down in the morning, one of them was in a cage, would you really be happy with that face?
Yeah, why
I'd let
not?
you mournfully, I'm half human. Why are you imprisoning me?
David Cameron's been warning this week about the coalition of chaos, a phrase I think he's coined himself.
Bit harsh on Nick Clegg and himself.
I think they've all been told to say the word chaos and keep saying it.
Yeah.
I think it's the watchword of the election.
Right.
Because Boris kept on saying it.
But it's a very mild word, chaos, isn't it? It's a sort of an emotive word. Chaos is how people say, people that sort of make the mistake of going to IKEA on a bank holiday. Oh, it was chaos.
And apparently the Tory word, the positive word, is confidence.
Oh,
So
that-
somebody's thought it's confidence versus chaos.
And then Boris
Just-
is both.
Yes.
So whatever you want, you get a bit of it. But Boris is the secret weapon.
What's secret about Boris? To be fair.
Well, you'll have to ask the courts.
So David Cameron's come up with a coalition of chaos. What has John Major been calling the lab snip danger?
He's still here.
I do all the MPs. He said a Labour SNP alliance was a recipe for mayhem. It's not quite as good as coalition of chaos, is it? I came up with potpourri of panic.
That's very good.
A bowl of bollocks.
That is an image that will stay with me for a very long time. So John went on, impression alert. We risk a weak... I'm not going to do that. We risk a weak and unstable government open to a daily dose of political blackmail.
Yes.
And that would be terrible, wouldn't it, political blackmail? Ulster Unionist MPs will keep Major in power. That's obviously from a while ago. Here we got Paddy Ashdown making the point in a slightly different way.
It's Mr. Major who had 16 bastards. Mr. Blair used the phrase about Mr. Major because of the bastards. The Conservative Party today has not 16 bastards, but 60 bastards. From the 60 so-called bastards, Mr. Major's phrase, not mine, he only had 16, who will, as the 16 bastards crucified Mr. Major last time, they will do exactly the same with Mr. Cameron.
That's a lot of bastards. It's like a sort of GCSE question. You start with 60 bastards,
Yeah.
you take away 14.
What I liked about John Major was that he seemed to say that everybody wanted package holidays, and that's what, and that was the benchmark of being happy. He has been in politics since about 1996, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think...
Does he now work for Thomas Cook?
He hasn't been abroad much.
Where does he do his arms dealing? From home?
With the internet now, you probably could, couldn't you? How did Ed Miliband deny the inevitability of a pact with the SNP?
No, he just said no, didn't he?
He pretty much
He just
did.
said that, sort of, Nicola Sturgeon kind of shimmied up to him and kind of propositioned him and kind of said, oh, what about it, like that, and he just said no.
I missed this bit of it.
What are the spin rooms?
Do either of us go?
Yeah.
No. They don't allow us in, I don't think. They don't allow me in, no.
There's a giveaways in the name, the spin room. It's full of spin doctors.
Oh, but who are they spinning to? Not each other, surely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely,
Waste of
yes.
resources.
They spin and counter-spin each other, and then
And they all feel dizzy. I've never heard of the spin room.
So after the debate, there's a room full of people who have a vested interest to say that their person won. And reporters go around and say, who do you think won? And they say, well, our guy won. Or our girl. Or
But who
woman
do they say this to? Do they say it to other spin doctors who then say...
No, I think
and
there
it's
are-
like a sort of
there are-
hall of mirrors that it kind of reflects forever and ever, and then they die. I don't know.
Tell me that was what happened. That would be amazing. Yeah. Who would... Now, this is a treat.
Yeah.
Who would like to see Alex Salmond as a ghost in a Pakistani soap opera? Yes, that is actually him. I think it was a friend of a friend offered him a part as a ghost in a Pakistani soap opera.
This looks like this was some time ago.
It was, yeah. He was working for the Royal Banquo of Scotland at the time. Oh, I'm so sorry.
For Pakistani soap operas, I think that's incredible quality.
What's your favourite Pakistani soap opera, Ian? That's my favourite as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a very fine, it's a wonderful performance. It's beautifully realised.
Ian, when you were watching This Morning with Philip Schofield on Wednesday...
Oh, yes.
Yes, as I'm sure you did you hear David Cameron's little jibe at Alex Salmond?
I did.
Yes.
There's a man on Good Morning who takes people's wallets. And the Prime Minister made a joke. He said, that'll be Alex Salmond.
Let's hear him deliver that joke with aplomb.
Thank you very much indeed for your time. Up next, the man who can pinch your wallet, your watch and even your tie without you ever noticing. He's here after the bang.
Is that Alex Salmond?
It's quite a good joke. It's the only time in the campaign I've seen Cameron come up with anything interesting.
Why did someone from Hounslow get accused of pinching money this week?
Is
Because
it
that man
rogue
had
trader?
with
Yes.
the flash crash trader.
Yes. Navinder Singh Sarao, a British trader, facing extradition to America over claims he deliberately triggered a flash crash.
He has this extraordinary lifestyle, which is so incredibly penny pinching. He's worth something like 30 million or something like that. But he always wears a sort of tracksuit, and I think when he made one big avalanche kind of sort of had a windfall, I think all he did was go out and buy another tracksuit for £100 or something.
This is from Sports Direct. Write it down, Ian. If you're looking for a new pair of tracksuit bottoms, the ones that you normally watch television and have worn out.
Sports Direct.
Sports Direct.
Do they do grey and baggy?
They'll serve anybody.
Yes, he set up a company, Nav Singh Milking Markets Limited, which doesn't sound dodgy at all. This is the novel concept that the people of Scotland might get a say in the running of the United Kingdom. Despite Tory scaremongering, a deal between Labour and the SNP might not be all one way. The SNP have promised Labour support on Europe, a renegotiation of the Barnett formula, and, albeit reluctantly, to reveal the whereabouts of Donald's trousers. Paul and Miles, take a look at this.
Oh, George Osborne running away from reality, and there's David Cameron. Yes,
Fish and Ramsey Nesbitt.
yes, and the Miliband effect on young women.
That's the worst. I mean, in terms of someone's image, that's Miliband's bus. It's like a sort of 1970s rock and roll tour bus.
Yeah.
He invites women on. They leave screaming moments later. Who is this helping?
It was a hen party that squealed excitedly on their way to having a wonderful evening that they'll never remember. I forget.
And was it by chance, or was he an organised part of the entertainment?
Was he expecting to strip for an extra £5?
Yes, Ed Miliband's battle bus got mobbed by a hen party in Chester. Let's have a look at it. What else has Ed been pleasantly surprised by?
Militants.
Yes.
Oh, these people who are saying that they adore him online and saying he's sexy and saying he looks like Poldark.
They put his face on photos of
James
famously
Dean.
sexy people.
Yes.
James
Marlon
Dean,
Brando.
Stephen Mangan, people
Yeah.
like that. Almost unbelievable.
Yes, he's got an unexpected following on Twitter amongst teenage girls who call themselves the Millifemidon. Sorry, the Millifandon. It was all started on Twitter by a student called Abby and has now got 17,000 followers. One tweeted she had an unexplainable emotional connection to Ed Miliband. I think she means inexplicable. While another simply posted pictures of him with a crown of flowers.
But she's too young to vote, isn't she?
She's only 17.
I'm not saying it's a waste of time, but come on.
David Cameron's got a rival Twitter group. Do you know what they call themselves?
The 1922 committee.
They're called the Cameronettes.
That's right, yes. Let's have a look at the tweet. Who said David Cameron doesn't have a fandom? Hashtag Millifandom, hashtag Conservative, hashtag Tories, hashtag Bring It On. And as you can see, it's been retweeted. Twice. In terms of appealing to the youth vote, where did Ed Miliband draw the line?
Well, you wouldn't do a sort of a makeup tutorial with someone like Zoella.
Oh, I really need to see a makeup tutorial with Ed Miliband now. Well, apparently he refused to do a banter pose during an interview with YouTube presenters Nikki and Sammy. No, me neither. Anyway, let's have a look.
Can we get a banter pose? Probably not.
Oh, slap down for Nikki and Sammy. That's pretty cool.
I'm really warming to him, you know.
That's working for me.
No.
Anyone want to see Ed Miliband set to George Michael's Careless Whisper?
No, I don't want to see
Yes,
that.
on
no.
balance, yes.
Thank you, Paul. Let's
Thank
sing
you.
it. Oh, I could watch that all day. It looks like he sat on a whisper. That's where they got it from. It's very, yeah, that's the work of Mikey Blagg. Thank you, Mikey Blagg. Let's catch up with Nigel Farage now. He's hoping to be elected to the constituency of South Thanet, a place that's been described as a small nodule of erupted spleen, a little bit of throbbing gristle, grubby and stuck in the past. Please drive carefully. Actually, of course, Camilla, that's how you describe the place.
Yes.
Isn't it?
That's exactly how I describe it.
And UKIP said that that was...
mean.
elitist sneering. Is that a fair comment?
No, not at all. It was the truth.
Did you visit there much?
I mean, I visited them. I went there more than Nigel Farage. By the time I arrived there, he'd only been there a few times.
And did you feel they're going to vote for him?
No, I don't think they are at all. I think he's not going to get his seat at all. I went to a casino at about 3:30 in the afternoon. There were two old ladies playing poker. And I thought, oh, they'll vote for Farage. And they hadn't heard of him at all.
Well, back to this week, and Nigel Farage has been wearing a hat. And hitting back at claims that the UKIP manifesto was full of white faces. Do you know what he's been saying?
He said there was one black face and one half black face. Is that right?
Yes, he told Magic Radio, well, firstly, there was one fully black person. And then he went on, there was another one of our leading spokesmen who is half black, and that didn't get a mention. No, it didn't get a mention because no ordinary people speak like that. Ah, that sound can only mean one thing. It's time for a bonus election buzzer question.
Hey.
It's what happened next? Yes, fingers on buzzers and tell me what happened next.
I'm Andrew Mitchell, and I'm the Conservative candidate for the Royal Town of Sutton Coldfield.
Did he actually just get run over and
No.
is now dead?
I'm Andrew Mitchell, and I'm the Conservative candidate for the Royal Town of Sutton Coldfield.
It's astonishing. I don't know how he does it either. Incredible skill. Who's been allegedly using a sock puppet?
Oh, Shapsy. Oh, Shapsy boy.
Shapsy.
Yeah, oh, Shapsy. He's a sharp character, isn't he? He seems to have been... he goes around under different aliases, and now it's been alleged, it's been proved that he is... it's been suggested that he has been altering Wikipedia entries on his colleagues for the Conservative Party.
And himself.
And himself, indeed.
The thing that I really loved was when they confronted him about it, and he said, I couldn't possibly have done this because I was elsewhere. Do you know how the internet works?
But he has got form. He's denied that it was him.
Yes.
Changing his own entry. But he did deny before that he had a second job working under the alias of Michael Green. And that was proved to be true.
Sort of this generation's Jeffrey Archer, isn't he, really? Just a man...
That's an appalling...
Yeah, I don't think you can say that about anybody.
Not even
Jeffrey Archer.
Yes, Shapps found himself at the mercy of the nation's sharpest satirists.
Grant Shapps has fervently denied that he had anything to do, that he himself does not have the time, apparently, to edit his own Wikipedia entry. And look, I'm prepared to believe him. I mean, let's. It just could have been someone else. Michael Green, for instance, could have. Boom, boom.
Was that Trident going off in the background?
That noise means it's time for another bonus buzzer election round. This one is called What's Wrong with This Leaflet?
Right.
Fingers on buzzers, it is a quick fire round.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this leaflet? Miles.
Everyone, working under a cloak of anonymity.
Yes, vote name, surname. Wouldn't it be great if that was actually somebody's name?
Yeah.
Greatest name ever. On a slight variation on the theme, can anyone spot what's wrong with this specially made sign?
Yes.
It's got more R's than are strictly necessary.
Yes, they had a problem with the R's. Boris told The Guardian, I am encouraged by the feeling on the street. He is insatiable. What's wrong with this leaflet? Yes, Miles?
It's very tempting to crop it.
Well, it's not just... That's the right answer. It's not just tempting. When you fold it in half to post it through a letterbox... This is the news that the election is not just about Scotland. There are other major issues to discuss, such as Grant Shapps' Wikipedia page. Grant Shapps denies the accusation he repeatedly edited his own Wikipedia entry, vowing to clear his names. Also this week, Boris Johnson referred to the prospect of standing for Tory leadership as being dim and distant, which are also his nicknames for Cameron and Osborne. So at the end of that round, 2 points each. And so to round 2, the one-armed bandit of news. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's the first one. Ian.
And this is a tortoise. This is his owner.
Yes.
She left the gate open, and he ran away, and she was distraught for ages. And then someone found the tortoise, and it's got her name on it there, slightly faded. Stokes or something.
I'm still struggling as to how this has made the news. Woman finds tortoise that was previously missing. God unavailable for comment. What's going on?
The person who found it, incredibly nice, he rang up everyone with the name on the tortoise, locally, found the... This is a nice, heartwarming story.
Absolutely.
She's very happy she's got her tortoise back. She never thought she would. She has.
I think you got this the wrong way round. It's the woman that went missing for 5 years. And she had her name written on her back, and the tortoise had been worried sick.
It's a really first-rate story. I just wish I'd run it.
Yes, this is absolutely true. It's Toby the tortoise from Dover, who has been reunited with his owner, Wendy Stokes, after a year on the run.
This is where the story gets really... He managed to make it to Rio de Janeiro. A pair of dark glasses and a fake passport. So how far did he get to?
Well, he got 400 yards from the front gate.
400 yards!
Wait, this is just the beginning. He got 400 yards from the front gate, and some helpful soul picked him up and drove him to Margate. 22 miles away. But Toby's 109, so he was one of the younger residents in Margate. Yes, he was gone for a year.
When the tortoise was in Margate, was he relentlessly interviewed by Camilla, desperate to find somebody with an opinion on something in Margate?
I'm a migrant to the area, but you wouldn't believe my story. It's all written on the back if you want to check it out.
On the subject of misplaced pets...
Yes.
What did postman Chris Kitchen of Driffield, Yorkshire, take unexpected delivery of this week?
An ostrich.
No, it's Humphrey the cockerel, actually, who appeared in the postman's back garden along with the following note. Thanks again for looking after Humphrey. We've left him in the garden as discussed. He will need 1 cup of feed per day and water. I think we've covered everything else last week. We arrive home on the 24th, so we'll come and pick Humphrey up that afternoon. Any problems, just give us a call. Thanks again, Andy and Sarah. Only problem being, Chris didn't have a clue who Andy and Sarah were. He told the local paper he was just baffled, but that Humphrey was delicious.
So, Stephen, how did you get into the role of Postman Pat?
Well, I sort of stood in front of a microphone and read it, really, because it was an animated... I mean, I was going to say lots of episodes. I watched 1 episode of Postman Patch on the... Patch? Postman Patch. That's where my mistake was. I watched Postman Patch. No, I'm a big fan. I've got 2 young boys, so Postman Pat is a firm favourite in our house.
So are you doing a new version of it?
We did a movie. It was out last year. I can't believe you didn't see it, really. Fucking hell.
Missed it again.
You work your arse off thinking Ian Hislop's going to love this. Toby the tortoise was missing for 11 months. When asked what happened, he said, I don't know, it all happened so fast. According to the Daily Mail, the tortoise was picked up by a driver on a nearby road and driven 22 miles away, leaving a scandalised hare to shout, oi, that's cheating. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Okay. Here's the next one.
This is Poldark, and he can't scythe properly.
Can't he?
Apparently he's doing it all wrong. His scythe is blunt.
Yes.
He's
Should
doing
be
it...
triple action.
He
Get
should be...
3 blades.
You've got a blunt side. It's a very nice old-fashioned insult.
Yes. So, yes.
He's got a bit of a blunt side.
He doesn't scythe.
Well, that couldn't be more of a right answer. According to The Telegraph, Chris Riley, one of Britain's foremost scythe experts, he told the paper, the story of Poldark highlights the romantic aspect of the scythe and its use in history, but we weren't very impressed with Aidan Turner's scything, because there was a lot of sweating and grunting going on. But the only time you'd mow like that would be in a competition. What else was unrealistic, as described by expert
well, it's set
mower
in the
Chris
19th
Riley?
century, and apparently it was filmed. Explain that one, Mr. BBC.
Well, yes, that is obviously absolutely true. Chris Riley said you would never scythe topless because you would need to keep your shirt on to protect you from the sun.
And to stop yourself giving yourself an inadvertent Brazilian all the way up the front.
Inadvertent Brazilian.
It was a Graham Greene novel. Keep going.
Now, how did our scythe expert Chris Riley get the Telegraph readers' hearts racing?
He stripped himself.
He did. Let's have a look. There we go. The Beeb have been quick to hit back at Chris's comments. What have they said?
It's entertainment. You shouldn't take it so seriously.
Well, yeah, they sort of said... Yeah, they said a spokesman said a scything expert had been present on set. Quite difficult to...
I think they're taking the piss,
Do you think?
They?
I don't know,
Yes.
well, maybe. It's quite difficult to film scything scenes, though. No one knows what to do when the director shouts cut. This is the news that Aidan Turner, the actor in Poldark, has received criticism after using the wrong scything technique. Many scything experts were upset. Indeed, some of them described the scene as harrowing. Chris Riley, a 56-year-old scyther, told the Daily Telegraph that when the episode in question aired, word got around our network of scythe enthusiasts very quickly. Yeah, one phone call. Which means at the end of this round, it is Paul and Miles with 2 points.
Me.
Ian and Camilla have 4. Time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Your 4 are a bit of the universe, a creamy chicken bake from Tesco, 72 safety deposit boxes, and Ivica Jerkovic's wallet.
One of them's to do with the jewellery heist, isn't it?
Which one would that be?
Well, the other 3 objects were found in the safety security boxes: the Tesco pie, the wallet, and the universe.
I think it's about things disappearing, isn't it? Jewels have gone from the jewel place, and...
The creamy chicken's
Who
gone
they're-
from
from
Tesco's.
Tesco, yes.
I think these are things that have all been found in the back of minicabs. The wallet, the safety deposit box, and the minicab driver who got lost on his way to Streatham and ended up in Alpha Centauri.
They've lost a bit of the universe. Scientists don't know where it is.
Yeah, and so the wallet's the odd one out. That's what you're saying. It's been
Yeah.
found. Absolutely, well done.
The wallet is the odd one out, is the correct answer.
Ah,
Yes.
I answered that for him.
Yes.
How would I answer that for him?
Yes, they have all been found empty this week, apart from Eva Jerkovic's wallet, which was returned with nearly double the amount of money inside.
Oh.
Any idea how long he had to wait to get his wallet back?
4 years. A tortoise next door had nicked it.
14 years to get his wallet back. We've lost a bit of the universe this week. Astronomers have discovered a curious empty section of space, which is missing around 10,000 galaxies. Let's have a look at this empty bit of space.
It's more interesting than I thought it would be.
It's called a... It's called a super void, apparently. Scientists in Hawaii have revealed that the size of the void, simply put, is too big to exist. What is surprising scientists about this super void?
It shouldn't be there.
Yes.
It's surprisingly cool, is the answer. Supervoids are not entirely empty, they are underdense, but this does not explain the cold spot, which we're still in the dark about, said Carlos Frank, professor of not really meaning anything at the University of Too Early to Say.
I like the idea of underdense. That would be good on school reports.
The 72 safety deposit boxes were left empty after they were raided over Easter weekend in London's Hatton Garden. The police revealed photographs from inside the scene of the crime this week. What did they show?
Oh, they showed this amazing tunnel that had been dug out by the people who were involved. But the odd thing was, I read somewhere that everybody was confused because apparently one of the men would be too large to fit in it.
They just need one little chap in and he opens the door, doesn't he?
One little chappie.
Yeah.
He goes through this
Oliver
hole.
Twist. I'd be interviewing jockeys.
In my experience of blowing safes, yeah. Just one of them needs to do that, the little chap in Ocean's 11. Yeah.
Now, the police have put out a notice. They are looking for a little chappie to help them with their inquiries. Do we know who any of the victims are yet?
Mostly jewellery owners.
Mostly jewellery owners.
Lots of gangsters, lots of the things in safety deposit boxes are stolen, aren't they? Just because you're not allowed to go and look in safety deposit boxes, so anything you steal, Stephen, you can put in a safety deposit box. It could be a material thing, it could be a concept, somebody else's idea, you put it away in there.
Could be the best dressing room.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. It's been reported victims include the Addams family. Not that Addams family. The Addams family that are Britain's most notorious crime family. You wouldn't want them after, you'd rather the police after you than the Addams family, wouldn't you? But I'm sure they're lovely people. The Tesco's pasty. A man from Canary Wharf in London bought a Tesco's creamy chicken bake only to find it had no filling. The Mirror reported the customer had been expecting to find a warm-cooked chicken interior. Exactly. Yeah, that would have been so much nicer. What did Richard Bootman of Bury St Edmunds find in his Aldi steak and onion flavoured crisps recently?
A barn owl. No.
You found one single uncooked potato. They have all been found empty apart from Ivica Jerkovic's wallet, which was returned this week after 14 years with nearly double the amount of money inside. This week, a man bought an empty creamy chicken bake from Tesco. Overwhelmed with embarrassment and remorse, Tesco offered the shopper compensation in the form of a £1 money card. Not even an actual pound, but a card you have to spend in their shitty shop. More details have emerged about the Hatton Garden jewellery heist. The value of the jewels stolen was £100 million, according to the Daily Star, £200 million, according to The Sun, and £300 million, according to the jewellers on the phone to the insurance company. Which means at the end of this round, it is Paul and Miles 3, but Ian and Camilla have 5.
Oh. Yeah.
Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, The Barometer magazine.
Ah, yes.
I'm now supposed to make a joke about barometers. Ooh, the pressure. And we start with, just by what you can put the Queen in a bad mood?
Putting her in a headlock.
The answer is just by folding a £10 note, you can put the Queen in a bad mood. This is the news that a man has discovered that just by folding a £10 note in 2 places, you can change the Queen's expression from good to bad. Let's have a look. Next, it took weeks to find what for the smallest what in the world.
It took weeks to find a buyer for the smallest barometer in the world.
Is half right.
Oh.
The answer is it took weeks to find a hair thin enough for the smallest barometer in the world.
Oh.
This is from the Barometer magazine. The barometer collector was called Phil Collins. He doesn't need a barometer, surely he can just feel it coming in the air tonight. Dum 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 is how he taps his barometer. Next, Alan Sugar asks for help with what?
Is it chewing solid food?
Basic grammar. Wiping,
Wiping? Like hard drives?
for instance.
Barometers.
Barometers is not the right answer. Alan Sugar asked for help with naming new book. This week, Alan Sugar was ridiculed on the internet for asking his Twitter followers to name his new book. Here's an idea, Lord Sugar, save a bit of time and just call it Reduced to 99p.
His nickname was at school. Sweetie, 2 lumps.
Next, the most frequently asked question about barometers is what?
Can I get a Rexall one? I was like one of these in your hallway.
The answer is, do you tap them or not? This is from, believe it or not, the Barometer magazine. Do you tap them or not was also the most asked question about phones at News International. The answer, a big fat yes. Next, dog causes traffic delays by what on Scottish motorway?
He drives a tractor.
It's the right
answer.
answer.
Yeah.
Motorists on the M74 were caught in a rush-hour tailback this week after a sheepdog took a tractor on the motorway. Also this week, a video surfaced of a dog who hates to eat his dinner on his own. Let's take a look. Actually, we're just running that backwards. You can't stand the other dog. Next, Hampshire police disappointed with new uniform because what?
They're famously resistant to change. The old ones had easier to remove ID numbers.
Makes them look like bees. No?
The answer is Hampshire police disappointed with new uniform because police is spelt upside down. This is the news that Hampshire police have mistakenly printed the word police upside down on their new uniforms. Here it is. To combat criticisms for wasting money on the uniform, Hampshire Constabulary has issued a statement. Here it is.
Statement.
What to be allowed? Yeah. What to be allowed on BBC World Service for first time?
Barometer readings. Yes, of course. That gap that's always been there in the BBC World Service. Barometer readings and the actual... And that's coming up now to midnight, and let's have a look at the old barometer. Tap, tap.
Amazingly, that is the wrong answer.
Ah, good. I'm glad. There was somebody said once they were listening to sort of like somebody reading the news, and they had on one of the many world services they do in many foreign countries. They weren't a person was just announcing that he wasn't particularly well versed in what was being said. So he said the time is 9 o'clock Greenwich. Meantime, here is the news.
Well, the answer is product placement to be allowed on BBC World Service for first time.
Ooh.
Yes, this is the news that the BBC World Service will feature product placement on its global news channel for the first time. I'm not sure I approve of product placement on the BBC, so I'll just be reaching for the off switch on my Roberts radio, the one with the crystal clear reception. And lastly, goats that can paint, called what?
Is it Nane?
Oh, that's good. Thank you very much. Rembrandt.
Yeah.
Hey!
Is that right?
No, it's not right. Goat that can paint, called Van Goat. This is a goat in Mexico who's taken up painting and charges $40 per work. Van Goat has many fans, but sadly has had to leave Twitter because of all the trolls. So the final scores are... Paul and Miles have 5, but this week's winner, Ian and Camilla, with 6. But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
Jack Nicholson revealed to be the actor most cats want to be.
Grant Shapps goes incognito.
Ah, Mr. Bond. Blofeld's not here, but I've been expecting you.
And I leave you with news that there's sensation in the music industry as Boy George is sued by the original songwriter of Karma Chameleon. During a speech in Crewe, George Osborne begins to regret allowing a disgruntled rail employee to set up his podium. And as Kim Jong-un boasts that he learned to drive at the age of 3, evidence emerges to back up his claim. Good night.
Stan goes on holiday. There's US comedy with American Dad over on BBC 3 in 15 minutes.